Hello, everybody. Ian with AI here today, coming to you to talk about Auto GPT. This came out, I believe. Let me see. Um, it doesn't even. Oh, this is 2 hours ago. I'm not actually positive when it was put out. Not too long ago, maybe within last week or maybe before. Either way, Auto GPT is a wonderful program and something I'm sure is going to get a lot more implementation. And this is sort of the next level of GPT. So what Auto GPT will do is it will enable multiple instances of GPT to run sort of at the same time. What it does is it creates a manager that will manage GPTs to do what it wants. So you can ask a question that has lots of tasks involved in finding out the answer, and it will use GPTs together to come back with that answer. It's I've heard it being equated as to like GPT is like a thought. It will answer a very specific question, but with Auto GPT, it can think of a concept almost, and all of the things that you need to do to get to this concept. An example that they use is that for building a business, all of the different things that you need to do. And that was the example that I chose for my first project. But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. So when I heard that it was, you have to get the code off of GitHub, I was worried, as I am not a coder. I'll express that in as many ways possible. If you are familiar with coding and do a lot of coding and stuff, then you will have absolutely no problem installing this. I know some code. I know my basically way around it, but I do not code and I don't want to code. But I was able to download this and get everything running, thankfully, due to GPT. So I'll show you how to do that. So first, go to GitHub and search for Auto GPT. It'll come up as this Auto GPT, and you download your code, of course, and get started. If you come down here, so this basically just says what I just said, and then let me see, does it say the features up here? All right, here it is. All right, it has internet access, which is one of those things that GPT does not have. It has memory, which is very important for coming up with the task and remembering and staying focused on the original objective. So, file storage, all of these things that you wish GPT had. All right, and here's your installation instructions. These are good. Everything is right. They're a little vague, sort of at the end of it. If you do code all the time, you would have absolutely no problem. But I will show you how I was able to do it, because I don't read code, and frankly, I don't want to spend my time trying to learn code just to install a program. So I just came over to GPT and I said, I'm trying to do a program. Can you help? And I just basically copied and pasted all of the terminal window. I think I was in the terminal window. So you have to use terminal and Python in order to get this. And it'll tell you, like, it looks like you're incurring a run error. We're trying to install da-da-da-da. Waiting to da-da-da-da. So this tells me out in like normal language what it's having a problem with. And, I had to install this thing. And, it just basically walked me through it. And then every time I had an error, I would just basically copy and paste. And then, it seems like you're having to try listed content. This I can understand. So, all right. So basically, once you install that, I would also install the GitHub desktop. It'll just make things a lot easier. You will end up in Python. And this is the code you end up with. It's really not too much code. And then you would go up and you'd hit run and run module. Now it does have a memory function, so it says, welcome back. Would you like me to return to being OJ? OJ is what I called my manager, CEO of the orange juice stand that I want to have in my backyard. So I was running this code for 2 days, basically. And it would crash occasionally, and once in a while it would remember where it was. But if I said yes, that I wanted it to continue being OJ, it would probably start me off at the beginning, where it already has my list of tasks, but it hasn't done anything yet. Now, I ran this for several days, and it's, it didn't, it works, and it will create all of the things, but it ended up taking a really long time and ended up crashing a bunch. And I'll show you the text prompts that it came out with. But for example, for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to say no. And I'm going to give it a new name, I guess, say investigator. And then it'll ask me what it wants its role to be. And my example, it will be find out legality of running a orange juice stand in my backyard. Atlanta, Georgia. And then it'll 3 goals. So these are the 5 goals. These are the goals you can set for what it to do. And I'm going to do this. Sorry, spare me. Orange juice in my backyard. And the goal 2 will be if it is legal in zone 4A in Atlanta, Georgia. And then you leave it blank to go out of the instructions or setting the goals. And then it'll do this thinking bit, which is kind of a pain because you can't scroll up and see anything else because it immediately drops you down to the next line. So I'm running just those 2 goals, and I'm going to try to see if it'll finish those goals in a reasonable amount of time, and then I'll post it on this video. But if it takes over a day, then I probably won't. But this is basically your UI. It's basically a Python window, which is fine. So let me pause this and see if I can find. Okay, here we go. So this is the first one. It's orange juice, and okay. I called it OJ. Naya decided to help me open a juice stand in my backyard and find out how to put an orange juice in my back stand legally, how to buy oranges cheaply. So it wasn't that many sort of goals, I guess, the first time. Anyways, so it thinks for a really long time, and then it'll come up with these thoughts. And it's really kind of interesting. I should first research how to put an orange juice stand in my backyard legally. Then it reasons with you. It says I need to make sure I'm following all necessary regulations and laws before I open the stand to avoid legal complications. Perform a Google search to learn about regulations and laws, and check websites. And then it has criticism that it'll put on itself. And it's basically just making sure it's not going to do anything stupid or just remember certain things. So it says I need to make sure that I check multiple sources to ensure that I'm following the correct regulations and obtaining proper permits and licenses. And it has next action, input, what regulations and laws do I need to follow to open an orange juice stand in downtown Atlanta, Georgia? So that's what it's Googling. And then it'll say enter Y to authorize command and N to no. And you can do Y in to run continuous commands. They really don't want you doing that, and you probably don't want to do that too. And I haven't done it, but it would basically just say yes to everything. But I basically would start it and then do something, and a few minutes later it'll be back and expecting a yes or no. But yeah, I mean, you could theoretically do that. And then it'll tell you what it does, and in a lot of detail. FDA stuff, the requirements. It searches all these websites, and it just goes through all of this stuff. And yeah, so it's doing a whole bunch of background work. Although in this instance, you will see, and it will type painfully slow. You see down here, it's actually typing. You sometimes will think that it's not, but it is. You'll see when it starts the next word, how slowly the next line comes. But yeah, you don't want to sit here and watch this thing work. It's meant to be sort of run in the background, and yeah, it definitely would rather do that than watch it. So it goes through all of this stuff. It thinks a bunch. It goes through all this stuff, and tax employment regulations, all of these sorts of things, and it'll come up with it has thoughts. The agent provided helpful summary with what I need to know before running an orange juice stand. However, I need to research further to confirm the information and find additional information on buying oranges cheaply. I'm going to browse some websites to find more information. Provided by the agent. I am not positive. It feels like this thing may actually be making phone calls, because it said some things since then, later on. And this is all like this is still part of the first day. But I got the feeling, or it said things that made me feel like it was actually calling somebody, which is a little weird. So anyways, that's just about the gist of it. Let's see back over here. We haven't gotten to our first Y or N for continuing. So yeah, know that basically it works. If it's taken a really long time to type, that is very common. Yeah, you will eventually get to where you want. For the first one, I want to see what it comes out with when it finally finishes. That's why I just put in one prompt, basically, one goal. And then I wanted to bring up the, oops, wrong one. The AGI, or baby AGI. There we go. This is another one that has come out about the same time as Auto GPT, and it's almost the exact same premise as automating the GPT and trying to make it more artificial general intelligence. Now, I went through a bunch of like installing pretty much all of this, which was also, it wasn't as difficult as Auto GPT, but it was still very difficult, or not very difficult. It was less difficult. However, I got to this part where you need to install an LLM, large language model, and you would do that off of. You can actually download the llama models from Facebook. They actually do. You can't download from Facebook, but you can get torrents online. So they have weighted, API or weighted tables for that thing, but it is 219 gigabytes is to put the model on your computer, and I don't want that much space being taken up, so I chose to just drop it for right now. But if you have a whole bunch of space and you want to play around with this, baby AGI is out there for you to have your own language model on your computer. So that is about it. If we see, okay, here we go. Start with area search. Needs to gather information about all of this stuff. Unfortunately, it did it last time. And yeah, hopefully I can find out if I can put an orange juice stand in my backyard. And then criticism, here we go. I need to make sure that I don't overlook any legal hurdles that may prevent me from operating a food stand in my backyard. And so yeah, once it says what it's going to do, I hit yes or Y, and then it just goes back ahead and starts chugging. So it's really cool. Looking forward to the advancements and development of this, because this will, I don't know, we don't even know what it's going to do. But if it finishes before I go to publish this, I will show you guys what it ends up with. Yeah, I'll let you know. Otherwise, stay tuned, subscribe, and like, and everything. I'm going to be coming out with some videos, some video on some really cool AI video software that I think is really, really fun. And I sort of hated having to deal with Python scripts and downloading directories and everything this weekend. Had to hold myself back from playing with this. I look forward to having a video out soon with some really cool stuff, so stay tuned, and y'all have a great day, a great week.